cool the fire inside that's causing you pain. I'm going to get started soon. Today, I'll be talking about 3 ways that you can reduce chronic pain by using food as medicine. Um, but before I do that, I'm just going to check my connection here. So, there are ways that you can harness the power of food to help you reduce your chronic pain. This is particularly important if you are dealing with any kind of chronic illness, including autoimmune conditions. Pain usually is a symptom that goes hand in hand with any kind of autoimmune diseases, and there's a reason for that. Uh, there's an inflammation, there is a fire that is burning inside of you, which is causing this pain, whether it's in your joints. Typically, that's very, very common, particularly in the case of something, any kind of the arthritic kind of autoimmune conditions, even osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, but even overall muscle pain. These are typically symptoms associated with chronic inflammation. Inflammation is not bad. It's a problem if the inflammation is chronic, because inflammation is a process by which your immune system is trying to defend you. It's releasing these inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. There are many different types, and it's a very, very normal part of the immune or defense process. It just becomes a problem when this becomes chronic and inflammation becomes rampant, right? So this is what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about some steps that you can take. Just give me a second here, having some issues with, I know what's happened. Yeah, these are the benefits of technology, but sometimes things can sort of go for a toss. So I'm just trying to sort out the connection issue. So just bear with me here. I'm hoping that we can continue. Yeah, so I'm talking about 3 ways that you can reduce your chronic pain. You can cool the fire of chronic inflammation that is burning inside of you. And we'll be talking specifically about using food as medicine, harnessing the power of food. That's what I'll be talking about today. And it's not only about managing your chronic pain, but managing your chronic inflammation will also help you to prevent future disease and reverse many of your symptoms. And in some cases, I have seen in my own practice, working with women with autoimmune conditions, and of course, there are many others around the world who are managing their pain, or maybe just completely eliminating their pain by using the power of food, by removing certain foods and adding in certain foods. And I'm going to be talking about both in details today. However, if you would like to know more about these kind of topics, I do weekly coaching sessions in my free Facebook group. It's called Healing from Within with Anindita. So make sure that you sign up using the link that I've shared in Facebook. It's, again, in the Facebook group, it's called Healing from Within with Anindita. If you're watching on IGTV, then make sure that you head over to Facebook for that. But let's keep going. So your food is your medicine, and as Hippocrates said many thousands of years ago, that food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And it was true at that time, and now research shows that it is certainly, we have research to back it up. It remains true today. So there is no equal to diet when it comes to safety. So for example, if you're already dealing with some kind of pain, we can take anti-inflammatory medications, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, painkillers, etc. And of course, sometimes we need to take that simply because pain can really become debilitating. It's again not an either or situation, but what happens is that they all have side effects. They all, so we cannot be on them long term, like as a short term measure to help manage our pain. If it becomes too much, too intense and debilitating, Of course, we can take the help of these medications, but they all come with their side effects. Unlike food, food is something that is which has only beneficial effects at all, right? And it works on a multitude of pathways, which is a brilliant thing. And which is, I'm going to talk about a bit of what are the specific kind of foods that that you can actually focus on. If you're watching this live, then do drop-ins. Say hi. Share your name. If you have any questions, make sure that you put in the comment below. And if you're watching it on replay, you can head over to uh, the Facebook page, Nourish Heal Connect, and put in your questions below in the comments, and I'll make sure to answer that. So, as I mentioned, that something that you need to become aware of is an anti-inflammatory diet, right? Because we're talking about a fire that has been going on inside, which is contributing to your chronic pain. The obviously the logical conclusion is that you need to shift to an anti-inflammatory diet, and I'll talk about what comprises of an anti-inflammatory diet. But first, you need to be aware of what contributes to inflammation, right? What are the causes of inflammation? So these are a list of contributors. They are not by any means exhaustive, but just to give you an idea, as I mentioned, inflammation is caused by a cytokine secretion, which is secreted by immune cells in response to any kind of threat. And something that contributes to inflammation, ongoing inflammation, which is a problem. Acute inflammation is life saving. Chronic inflammation becomes a problem, and that happens when this immune response becomes rampant, and rampant inflammation is a problem. So one is sugar, high levels of sugar in your diet, which includes also refined carbohydrates. Then you have toxins. If there's a huge toxic load, wrong kinds of fats, and I'm going to talk about that as well. Hidden food allergies, hidden food sensitivities, which is extremely common. So food sensitivities to things like gluten and dairy, these are the two big ones. Even eggs, for that matter. You can also have allergies to eggs as well. They're different things. Lack of exercise, chronic stress, and of course, hidden infections. Infections are something that I won't be talking about details today, but there are, we know, especially in the case of autoimmune conditions, that hidden infections also, are quite common actually and contribute to ongoing inflammation. So, hidden causes of pain, which is connected to obviously your chronic inflammation. And again, I have been talking about immune health and gut health and the connection between the two. But to share with you again very briefly, you can go back and see my earlier videos. I write blogs on it. But just to connect the two, 70 to 80% of your immune system resides in your gut, because your gut is the pathway to the rest of your body. That's how important your gut health is. And that's actually the connection between what causes rampant inflammation because of immune dysregulation. So if your what it means is that if your gut is in poor shape, it contributes to immune dysregulation, which contributes to rampant inflammation. So this is the connection, right? So this is why we are talking about food as medicine when it comes to managing your chronic pain. And that's food is medicine for many other things, but today, of course, I'm talking about pain, which I find is a very, very, very common symptom for any kind of autoimmune disease. And I've helped my clients lower their pain, reduce their pain, or completely eliminate their pain by using food. Food is the first thing that we turn to. So an example of this would be a client who had major digestive issues, including abdominal pain, because of many different reasons, but also primarily because of the foods that she was eating on a regular basis. She thought she was eating healthy, of course, because if you're not aware of what our hidden sensitivities and allergies are, then we are simply doing our best. In her case, there were certain foods like gluten, dairy that she had already eliminated, but obviously there was something which was still going on. And in her particular case, it was actually a few other foods, including onion, which was contributing to her abdominal pain. Of course, removing these foods is more of a short term measure so that we can continue to work on gut health, and we can continue to make sure that we reduce the pain, we reduce the suffering, we minimize the symptoms while we continue to work towards creating long term health, which is exactly what we did in this client's case. And we removed some of the foods, including onion, which actually stopped her abdominal pain. Her chronic diarrhea also was a part of it. And we stopped it after 7 years. So, 7 years of antibiotic use, 7 years of oral steroids, all that actually stopped by removing some of the foods. And in her particular case, it actually was onion. Again, keep in mind that one, there is no one right diet for everyone, right? Which is why when we talk about healthy diets, we need to understand what it means for our unique, body's requirements, and that can also change with time. Classic example is that when we are pregnant, we are told to focus on certain foods, so and we naturally do that, but we forget to do that at other points in our life, because our requirements keep changing, and which is why one diet which works for somebody else may not really work for you, and it does not actually work. So even when you're eating healthy, what you need to understand is what is healthy for you. So in a particular case of this particular client, where she was having abdominal pain, onion was a major contributor. And it takes time to figure this out, but when we did that, her pain stopped. Of course, the healing journey does not stop there. We have to continue. We have to find things that why, we have to get to the root of why it is that that particular food is causing pain, and which is obviously linked to the gut health. And we have to continue to work towards improving the gut lining, the integrity of the gut lining, which is typically what is at play in case of autoimmune conditions. The integrity of the gut lining becomes compromised. That's what we typically focus on, amongst other things, but this is like a priority for us, right? So this is where, again, your diet comes into the picture, and these are these hidden causes of pain that you may not even realize, that's ongoing on a daily basis, because you're having 3 meals a day and you're having that kind of food. And it's a huge contributor. So when you are able to figure out what in your diet is contributing to your pain, and you're able to remove it, in many cases the pain stops completely, or at the very minimum the pain will reduce a lot, and we've seen that again and again. So once again, if you have any questions, if you're watching this live, make sure that you are putting in your questions below. If you're watching it on replay, head over to the Facebook page, and join our Facebook group, and you can ask your questions there. So hidden causes of pain, hidden food sensitivities is what I talked about. It can be bacterial overgrowth, which goes hand in hand with gut diseases, poor gut health. Then we have the toxic burden, on the liver. Your liver is not able to take out all the uh, the toxins, the hormone metabolites, all of that which has to be excreted by the body, that contributes to chronic pain. Then of course we have nutrient deficiencies. All of it actually also affect immune dysregulation, which can cause rampant inflation, which is extremely common in today's day, and in today's life. Chronic stress, I'm not going to be getting into those. I'm going to be talking more about the solutions today, but at the end of it, it all boils down to an anti-inflammatory diet where food is concerned. So the first thing that I would like you to so there are three ways that you can actually use food. That's what I'm talking about today. And the first, of course, is food. And the specific aspect of food that I want you to focus on is uh, phytonutrient diet. And what I mean by that is focusing on the rainbow. That's the easiest way to remember what foods are going to help you, what foods are going to be able to help you to reduce your inflammation, which in turn will reduce your levels of pain or maybe eliminate it completely. And the first thing is, of course, your phytonutrients, which are these class of chemicals naturally produced by plants to take care of themselves. It's a protective mechanism by plants, and there are thousands of varieties. And I'm going to name a few right now and give you a few examples so that you know what I'm talking about. But to put it very simply, to make it simple for you, think about the colors of the rainbow when you're talking about diet, right? And I'm just going to give you some examples. I think one you might be already familiar with, which is carotenoids, the red, orange, and yellow colored fruits and vegetables. Carrots is typically something that most of us are aware of as far as carotenoids are concerned. And remember that these phytonutrients are produced by plants to protect themselves from their enemies. So when we take that in from, and we can only take that in from plants, which means that we need to have a diet high in vegetables and fruits, because we can't manufacture these. We also benefit from the same, from these anti-inflammatory and antioxidant compounds, right? So carotenoids found in carrots, tomatoes, bell peppers, sweet potatoes, all the orange, red, and yellow colored vegetables. I'm just giving a few examples here. Anthocyanins, which are those blue and purple colors. I think this category is the hardest I find to have in a daily diet. So what I do is I'll tell my clients to because the examples would be blueberries, blackberries, purple cabbage, purple sweet potato, purple carrots, red cabbage. So these are the typical examples. Plums and cherries. So fruits may be easier to get, but by and large, I typically ask my clients to make a smoothie in the morning. It becomes much easier for them to get some of the colors. And in the smoothies, you can add these berries, even if you can't have the berries. Sometimes the berries are quite sour, some of the berries are quite sour. This is something that I do for my own children as well. Every day they get a boost of these, especially the purple, red, blue berries, apart from some of the healthy fats as well, through nuts and seeds. In the morning milkshake before they leave for school. So it's doing a lot of things. It's packing in antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, healthy fats, omega 3s, etc. So this is one way of adding in. So this is a class of phytonutrients called anthocyanins. Then you also have allicin, which is your family of onion, leek, and garlic, and some others as well. And allicin is again, some of these are also anti-cancer in nature, anti-inflammatory. And also this class helps to feed your gut microbes, which is a huge contributor to your gut health. So that's have. So what happens is that when you have these kind of foods, you have all round benefits, far beyond any class of drugs could possibly give you, because they work on multiple pathways. So allicin is something. Sulforaphane, again, if you're looking to prevent cancer, and also antioxidants. These are the cruciferous vegetables, especially the broccoli sprouts and broccoli. Cruciferous vegetables include your cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. So the more that regularly, the more that you can have them. Of course, your green leafy vegetables also are high in vitamin C and fiber, etc. So your spinach, all the leafy greens. And these are something that I incorporate in my family's diet on a regular basis. You need to find a way, but just to keep it simple, think about focusing on rainbow colored diet. And if you're focusing on different colors throughout the week, that's good enough. You can't possibly it may not be possible for you to have all the 7 colors in one day, but as long as you are focusing on the rainbow colors throughout the week, that's good enough as well. So these are some of the examples of. So the number one way is having a plant heavy diet which is rich in phytonutrients. I just gave you some examples. The second one is maybe basically crowding out the wrong kinds of foods, right? So I typically start my clients with breakfast. Breakfast is one of the easiest place to start, and removing the refined carbohydrates, the sugar laden maybe baked goods that you're having, or if you already have blood sugar imbalances. This is typically for most of us. High levels of insulin also contributes to inflammation. High levels of blood sugar leading to high levels of insulin. So all of these contribute directly to inflammation, which is why we focus on this area as well. Lowering blood sugar levels, bringing it into balance, and that starts with having, of course, uh, plant heavy diet, but also high fiber diet, starting with breakfast. A lot of times we focus on a lot of refined carbohydrates, so getting rid of that or minimizing it. And the easier way to do it is to crowd out your the things that you're not supposed to be having. So whether it's your processed foods, whether it's your refined carbohydrates, and adding in whole grains, nuts, seeds. So having a muesli with all kinds of whole grain nuts and seeds would be an excellent breakfast. In the Indian context, I also tell my clients you can always have your lunch or dinner for breakfast, right? What's to stop us from? That's what actually our traditional meals used to be once upon a time, and we forget that it was not only cornflakes and cereals. And a lot of the cereals are laden with sugar, especially the ones that you need to avoid are the children's cereal. In fact, I have done these grocery tour in the past, and when I take my client to show them the breakfast cereal section, especially the children's cereal section, they are extremely, most of them are high in sugar, and the children's cereals are the worst, the regular ones, which are high not only in sugar but additives and colors, preservatives, so extremely, uh, I mean, a wrong thing to have first thing in the morning and not helping our kids at all. But even other cereals. So focusing on nowadays, you get amazing cereals which are low in sugar, high in grains, and have whole grains, nuts, and seeds. So focusing on that. But at the end of the day, crowding out the unhealthy options, right? So you can basically start with that, which also means that what you can focus on is, rather than thinking in terms of that, I need to also eat this, maybe what you can do is slowly start moving out things from your plate, and crowding them out with more plants. So in my family's case, what I find that with my kids at least, it's easier for me to crowd out with a soup in the evenings. My son is a bit fussy, so it becomes difficult for me to give him a variety of vegetables otherwise. It's a struggle. So what I do with him, what I have done with him is, we all have soup, and the soup I focus on different colors. So if it's green one day, which is typically either broccoli or spinach, then it's another day it's orange, so I'll do a carrot or a pumpkin. Or another day I'll do a red, which can be roasted bell peppers, which is extremely high in vitamin C as well, or tomato. So I basically focus on different colors of the rainbow when it comes to soups, and that's my way of crowding out other things. So we start with the soup, and what happens is that then you end up having less of other things. So similarly, doing with soup, smoothies are an excellent way to do that as well, and smoothies work amazingly well in the mornings, right? So these are the first way that I mentioned is to focus on phytonutrients, which is basically focusing on a rainbow colored diet. The second way is to crowd out the unhealthy foods, the processed foods, the refined carbohydrates, the high sugar foods, with uh, more plants, plant heavy diet, with more fiber, healthy fats. Uh, and I'm going to talk about the fats in a bit. The third thing, which is again very, very important when it comes to inflammation and contribution to chronic pain, is fats, the oils that you are cooking with, right? That's extremely important. And one of the first things that I change in my clients' diets when I start working with them is their cooking oils. We typically end up using a lot of these refined and highly processed oils, because we are told through the marketing and the ads that we see that they're very heart healthy, etc. That could not be further from the truth, simply because of not the oil per se, the source of the oil, which can be sesame, which can be sunflower, etc., but more because of the process that they go through. By the time they become these refined, bland, white, pale, unfragranced oil with no smell at all, they become highly inflammatory. And when we cook with them at high heat, they're extremely inflammatory in nature. So one of the first things that you can one of the main things that you can change if you want to lower your pain levels is to completely change, overhaul your cooking oils, and focus more on cold pressed oils, organic oils. And it doesn't matter which oils you take in, whether it's your sunflower oil, or maybe it's coconut oil that you use, sesame. All the traditional cooking oils that we have grown up with, that our grandparents used to use, are ones that we need to go back to. And the process of cold pressing these oils, make sure that they are not, by the time they come, they still smell like that oil. So what it means is that in my community, as a Bengali, we use a lot of mustard, and the mustard oil should actually smell like mustard, right? So it should not smell completely bland. So you need to, that's a kind of a test. So healthy cooking oils is extremely important, and focusing on healthy fats. Fats are also, especially omega 3 fats, are again anti-inflammatory in nature. So whether it's through fatty fish, if you're a fish eater, if you're not, then focusing on chia seeds, flax seeds, even walnuts, to they contain omega 3 to a certain extent. Fish is always the best source. Um, and even omega 3 supplements. Supplements also give you a good quality omega 3 supplement, will also give you the kind of fatty acids that you need. So the three ways that I mentioned that you can manage your chronic pain, you can reduce or even eliminate it, is one is a phytonutrient rich diet. Second is crowd out the unhealthy foods. So, and it includes, I haven't mentioned, but includes gluten, dairy, and any other food that you might be sensitive to, because healthy foods is what is healthy for you, right? And the third is your cooking oils, again, lowering inflammation by changing your cooking oils to unprocessed, cold pressed olive oil, sesame oil, mustard oil, coconut oil, whatever oils that traditionally that you've been using. And then figuring that out for you. So these are some very, very effective, very foundational ways that you can reduce your chronic pain by using food as medicine. Right? Food is truly medicine. It's not just calories. It's not just energy. It talks to your cells. It's information, and it either moves you towards disease or away from it towards health. Right? And you have it, in your hands. It's in your hands. Right? It's not something that somebody else has to do something for you. It's completely in your hands. And I want you to take that first step today to make some of the changes that I've talked about. I know that it can become overwhelming, to try and do everything together. But even that one step that you can take today, maybe just changing your cooking oils, or maybe trying now starting to focus on phytonutrients, the colors of the rainbow. And now that you're aware of it, that's good enough, right? But start somewhere. You will start seeing the difference in a few weeks, maybe even earlier, and that'll motivate you to keep going. I hope you liked today's session. If you're watching it on Facebook, if you think that somebody will benefit from this, someone who's suffering from chronic pain, make sure to share this video with them. This message will help a lot of people who are unnecessarily struggling with this kind of pain and suffering, when they don't need to, right? This message is to get across, so make sure that you share this message. If you are dealing with chronic pain, and you're a woman with chronic illnesses, autoimmune conditions, make sure that you join our free Facebook group, Healing from Within with Anindita. I'll share the link below in the Facebook post. If you're watching on IGTV, you can head over to my Facebook community, Healing from Within with Anindita, and I'll see you again here soon.